the way I started my business was with a 22-inch Murray push mower. That's it, guys. I had a 22-inch Murray push mower, had an electric weed eater, 200 feet of extension cord. I know I can hear y'all laughing. That's all right, but I mean that's the real side of it. And a push broom. Didn't even have a blower. Didn't even have a blower. And we'll put all that back in the back of, here we go, I'm telling my age a little bit now. All of that went in the trunk of a 1975 Caprice Classic that my mom and dad had that they let me drive around to cut my yards. So that was the origination of Wayne's Lawn Service. Now, that was not a commercial service by any stretch of the imagination. That was like a lot of you guys. That was when I started back in high school, for some summer money. I think I had about 10 or 12 accounts. They paid about $9-10 a week, maybe $11 a week, most of them. And, man, I thought I was rocking and rolling. And I really wasn't doing too bad. But looking back and thinking about it, it's kind of funny, man. I guess I'd go, mow Miss Smith's yard and ask her where her outside outlet was at so I could plug in and do my trimming. Oh, Lordy. But, you wonder about learning, like how you learn to weed eat the right direction and how you learn not to blow grass out in the road. You learn how not to do that stuff. The reality of it is, and I was thinking about this when I was thinking about how it all got started. You learn how to do those things, mowing and blowing and not blowing grass all over everything, because you didn't have blowers, so you didn't want to create work for yourself. That's Doug says, yeah, he just mowing a few side yards. And let's see, got another one here. That's it. Aaron says his wife's dad passed away, no longer wanted to sell everything, so went and got the lawnmower out of the shed, basically. That's the reality of it. I mean, we all got pretty interesting stories on how we get started. And I think it's cool. And, when you look back at how you got started, then the next question is, okay, well, how do we get to where we're at? Smoking Joe, now he's showing us all up, okay? He says he started with a Cub Cadet 50-inch cut. But here's the funny part. He says, I was told I'd never make it because there's so many people mowing and doing landscaping. I hear you, man. I heard that too back in the day, Oh, Ben, I appreciate it. Yeah, that 75 Caprice Classic, man, it was a land barge, to say the least. It was a land barge. It was huge for you guys that are too young to remember it. It was a huge old car, to say the least. But I had plenty of room in the trunk. Actually, man, we started growing a little bit. We had room for two lawnmowers. We had room for two lawnmowers in the back. But hey, Smoking Joe, I'm proud of you, buddy. Doing what people say you can't do. It goes back to that same thing. If you had one chance, one opportunity, would you take it? Or are you just going to let it slip away? And a lot of times people just, let it slip away, and it's, let's see what Mike's got to tell us here. He said, I was in a family business in a different industry with his brothers. They didn't see eye to eye on business practices, so he decided to go out on his own. He said, brothers and I are on good terms. That's the important thing. He said, I always enjoyed mowing and landscaping, so I went with it. Absolutely. It's funny when you hear reasons and stories from people, on how and why they got into the business, Jesse says he started with a 20-inch push mower from Walmart. $99.98. It was black and gray. That's right, man. And you'll always remember that. You'll always remember how it all got started. And hopefully, you guys, and I know you guys listening to me and you guys that have texted in and everybody listening to us here on Turfs Up Radio, we've progressed along and we've done it. It's been hard, you know, but the thing is, there's a little bit of a negative connotation. I guess that might be the right word. I think it is. That goes along with what we do. Kind of like Smoking Joe was saying. Everybody said, "Man, why are you doing that, man? You're never going to make it." Thanks for the positive motivation, right? But the reality of it is, there is plenty of money out there to be made in our industry. But what we got to decide, what you've got to decide, and this isn't a we choice. You got to decide that you're going to do the right things to position yourself to be profitable. And it's just that simple. Let's see. And to Mike's point here, where he came into this from another family business, he said, it was amazing to him just to see how much landscapers undervalue their services and themselves. And I'd have to agree to that. I'd have to agree 100% with that, Mike. I think we do have a tendency to not believe in the value of what we're doing. And, that's something it's a choice we all make. And, how are you going to value your services? So that's certainly something that we'll talk about today. Might as well talk about it today is, do you value the services that you offer, not just when you're sitting at home talking to your significant other, or you're sitting around talking to your peers, because we're all pretty good at having a big ego and, and lying about how well we're doing and how great our world is and how great the business is and how profitable things are. But when push comes to shove and we shake it all up and dump it out, the reality of it is, sometimes we realize that what we think's happening and what's really happening is something other than what we think it is. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's see, Charles sent us something. He says his dad didn't like the idea of bulk mulch in the back of the family station wagon in 2000. I hear you. It's funny, what we do and how we get to different places in our lives and in our businesses. And I appreciate you guys sharing your stories, because at the end of the day, I think we're all very similar in how we got started. It's not a hard industry to get in, but it can be a challenging industry to stay in and stay in profitably. And that's the trials and tribulations that I had with Wayne's Lawn Service. Was thought we were doing better than what we were really doing, but you got to be willing to make the change. Got to be willing to make that change.